I was a little bit worried when I first took this opportunity and brought this resource into the Detroit market because I wasn't sure if the market would hire or take a chance on some of our young people, right? Because of the narrative that we hear about how terrible, how they can't read, and I was kind of told that. But guess what? Our young people can read. Our young people are hungry. They're good, honest, just sometimes need a little bit of support, need some mentoring. But at the end of the day, they want the same things that everybody else wants. They want to be able to provide for their families. They want to be able to buy their wives a nice diamond. They want to be able to send their I'm somebody's mama. They want to be able to send their mama to Jamaica for vacation. But buy a home in their city and raise their families and contribute to their communities. That's for the most part what our young adults want. And I think there's a misconception. They're kind of getting a bad rap out here. It's not underserved at all, but yeah, underestimated is more like it.
We live in the cyber age, and many of the best high-paying jobs involve computer technology.
But the reality is, many very talented young people will simply get shut out. They won't get a chance. But the folks here are changing that.
Our team mantra is that we're kicking down barriers to entry for our students.
RJ stands for Registered Jack.
Npower is a nationwide program of free technology training that just launched in Detroit. Their students are young adults who, because of economics or other life circumstances, don't get a chance to compete for the best high-tech jobs.
Being in the neighborhoods that I'm from, programs, opportunities like this wasn't available for me, my friends, my peers.
eSATA is mostly intended for hard drive use.
Npower instructors teach basic coding skills, cybersecurity, high-tech fundamentals.
We're going to give them access to a credential. So now they have an IT fundamentals A+ credential that is an industry-wide need, and that gives them access to entry-level IT positions.
It may surprise you that Detroit ranks 4th in the nation on the list of America's high-tech job hubs. That means jobs, and the goal here is to level the playing field.
They just need an opportunity to really get into a high-paying position. They just want access. So that's like the driving force in this room, is that everyone wants the same goal.
My name is Derrick Davis. I'm the CEO and founder of Audiovisual Technology Institute. AVT Educational Institute, our mission is to empower and train passionate minds to grow through educational opportunities that support and encourage personal growth. We just set up shop here in Durfee Innovation Society. We have 2 classrooms here, a lab and a training room. Our goal here is to provide training in the low voltage electronics technology career here for the local community and people outside of the community that's looking for job training, workforce development. Our goal here over the next few years is to be the hub for low voltage electronics training. The career right now, the field in low voltage electronics is wide opening, and we focus on AV, audiovisual technology training. We provide training that will provide young men and women with careers in security systems, home theater systems, control access, digital signage, anything that's dealing with low voltage technology. You will be able to walk out of here with a national certification as an electronic systems technician that is recognized throughout the country. Our program is a 12-week program, so we look forward to being a local training provider right here in the Durfee community.
All right. I'm so glad to be here. Thank you for doing this and having this podcast. Our city needs this information. So I'm the executive director for Npower, the letter N, Power. And what I'm doing for Detroiters is providing an IT training program that is no cost to the trainee. We're serving the age group between 18 and 25, and this is an alternative to college. Some of our students, the minimum we require is a GED, but some of our students actually have bachelor's degrees, even though they're in that age group, but they have a desire to enter an IT career. So it's a 17-week, half-day program for IT to very technical training. And you will receive a credential if you pass the exams, CompTIA nationally recognized certifications that can travel with you anywhere, and with our students anywhere, followed by a 7-week paid internship so that our trainees are able to use some of the technical skills they have and the professional development skills they have. But what's beautiful about our program is that we offer wraparound services supports so that the young person who are new to adulting, and sometimes they don't realize that the way in which they are living and decisions they're making are actually a detriment to them entering a high-paid career. But we help to address those, and then we support our students for 3 years after they complete the program, so that we can ensure that those pathways to prosperity are open and available to them. We're kicking down doors to allow our students access to IT. There are 30,000 young people in our region who aren't in college, and they're underemployed, unemployed. And so Npower is another alternative to entering a good paid position. And that's what I'm here to talk about.
If there are young people that are interested in going through Npower, how would they get involved, and what are the steps that they take?
Well, the first step would be making a decision that IT in this industry is something that you really feel passionate about, because it's a transformational process that we take our trainees through. And if they're not up for it, then don't waste my team's time. So the first step is making a decision that you want to be a part of this industry, and then you would just reach out to us via www.npower.org. Hit apply. There's a short questionnaire or application, and then we will be in touch to interview and to introduce the program. Just really have our trainees understand the expectations and the commitment. But again, they're stepping into a community of people who really believe in them, and now they'll be surrounded by others that in their age group who are on the same track, and they support each other. We are open to volunteers as well, so I need for the community to pour into these young people, because this is a scary proposition. We're talking about taking someone with no IT skills and putting, Robert Smith with the Fund 2 Foundation, the guy that paid off all the student loan debt for Morehouse.
Indeed.
He put the money up to pay for this. So we can't let this money go to waste in Detroit. Yeah. So the community is invited to also participate in lifting these young people up and ensuring that they're successful. I know that's something that you mentioned.
We'll be done.
Okay.
More about that later, about how we can make that happen as well. Thank you, Ms. Banks, for being on the podcast.
Pleasure.
Mr. Davis, tell us a little bit about what you're doing.
Hello, my name is, thanks for inviting me to the podcast today. My name is Derrick Davis. I'm the founder, CEO, lead tech of AV Technology Institute. I'm also a broadcast engineer. I work for Channel 7. I'm the morning show broadcast engineer, so I'm there to make sure that, people can see the morning show. Been a broadcast engineer, AV technician for 30 plus years now. And it's a field that I've been involved in, that I'm passionate about. It's not just a job, it's a career. And since I've been in the field for this long, I noticed that African Americans, we're only represented by 2% in this industry.
Wow.
And I decided, you know, after complaining about it for so many years about being underrepresented in the industry, that my dad planted a seed in me, who was a Detroit educator for a lifetime Detroit educator. And he mentioned to me, he said, hey man, why don't you do something about it and stop complaining about it? Mm-hmm. And I was like, well, what are you talking about? He said, well, start training young people, young men and women to do what you do. And I was like, wow, that's interesting. But I was like, I'm not a teacher. I'm a technician. He was like, no, son, it's in your DNA. Your whole family's educators. And which was right. My mom was a second grade teacher at Detroit Public School. My wife's a second grade teacher. So I've got countless educators in my family. So, you know, once you find that purpose in life, you really, you run with it. So that's what I did. And I set up a technology school called Audiovisual Technology Institute. And we're a low voltage technology training center. And what we do is train young people in the technician side of the industry. You can come through it's a 12-week program. You come through our program. After completion of the 12 weeks, you can sit for a national organization's testing. CEDIA is the national organization for residential technicians, and then AVIXA is the national organization for commercial technicians. So once you complete our course, you will have the foundations to sit for both of those exams. AV technology, you come out as an electronic systems technician. A lot of people say, what's an electronic systems technician? You know, well, everything we do today in life deals with electronic systems. I mean, so when you walk into a new building, that whole new commercial building is wired for technology. You walk into a new home today, or homes period, they're wired for technology. So what we do is we train you on the foundations of electronics, basic electronics. Then we teach you the foundations to install home automation systems, security systems, the backbone of the network in a commercial building, TV installation, mounting TV installation, home theater system. So it's very diverse. A lot of people, when they think about electronic systems, you know, and you walk into a building, I get from a lot of young people, they don't even know this career exists. First thing they think is electricians wired everything in the building. You know, electricians come in, they power the facility. They put in the lights and the power and things like that. But all the systems that make that building or that home work is a low voltage technician that's coming in, installing, maintaining, and repairing those systems. So that's what we give, and we give you the foundation, the background that you need to walk into an entry-level career, starting anywhere from $18 on up, with certifications. I mean, I've been in this career for, like I said, 30 years, and I've taken advantage of every certification level you could take in the industry. So the opportunities are there. You can you don't just have to start as a installation technician. You can grow from an installation technician to becoming a programmer, project manager, designer, even starting your own technology business, installing these systems, surveillance systems, home access systems, door access, digital signage. It's just sky's the limit. Sky's the limit.
If there's a young person that wants to get involved with your program, how may they find you and how do they get involved?
Well, definitely we're on all the social media channels as AV Technology Institute. So you can find us at our website at www.avtechinstitute.com or call us at 248-203-0066. Like I said, our program is a 12-week long program. The cost of the program is normally $2,300. Since the pandemic started, we've lowered the price all the way down to $800. We know we don't want to stop anybody from not having an opportunity to start a career due to finances. So we do offer financial plans, payment plans, all that stuff, because we're not going to let that stop you. The scholarship opportunities that are out there. We have several technology partners, major corporations that are offering scholarships. So if you wanted to come through the program, you say, Mr. Davis, I can't afford it. Well, we're not gonna let that stop you from becoming part of the program, getting the opportunity to start a new career. Like I tell young people, it's not just a job, it's a career. So, like Camille said, you gotta really want it. It's not for everybody. It's not for everybody. It's a hands-on field, and we're a big boy course. I tell you, my last students, I told them, hey, I can't read the book for you. I can't do the assignments for you. Because this is a big person course, we're gonna get you through it. But when you get through, I can almost pretty much guarantee that you're gonna have the background, the skills to get a job. That's if you want it. So.
Hey, what age group are you working with, Derrick?
We started at 18, 18 on up. My last two students were 19 and 22, and those young men finished. They finished their first course. We finished January 30th, and they walked out of there with interviews.
All right.
One of my technology partners and had interviews the following week. So that was a good thing. I haven't heard back from them yet. I'm trying to reach out to them, see how their interviews went. But the opportunities are out there. This field right now is wide open across the country.
Yeah.
What's interesting about what we do, Derrick, and to you guys, it's like, at this point, I was a little bit worried when I first took this opportunity and brought this resource into the Detroit market, because I wasn't sure if the market would hire or take a chance on some of our young people, right? Because of the narrative that we hear about how terrible, how they can't read, and I was kind of told that. But guess what? Our young people can read. Our young people are hungry. They're good, honest, just sometimes need a little bit of support, need some mentoring. But at the end of the day, they want the same things that everybody else wants. They want to be able to provide for their families. They want to be able to buy their wives a nice diamond. They want to be able to send I'm somebody's mama. They want to be able to send their mama to Jamaica for vacation. But buy a home in their city and raise their families and contribute to their communities. That's, for the most part, what our young adults want. And I think there's a misconception. They're kind of getting a bad rap out here.
What I found right now is I'm having a hard time getting the word out and getting students into the field because they don't understand the field. They don't know that this is a career that's here, that's behind the scenes, that is really not hard. How much math is it, Mr. Davis? I said, well, you got to be able to learn. You got to be able to know how to read a ruler. You got to be able to know how to do some basic formulas, power formulas. But it's not that difficult. We could sit down, even if you had I'm not the best math person, never was, but I know enough to understand the field and get the job done. Is what I try to explain to them. So, don't let those things, if you had a rough high school career, things like that, stop you, because the opportunity, like you said, Camille, if you can read, you can write, you can do the job.
So I have a question. How do you guys get the word out? Like Npower, Derrick, the AV Technology Institute. Like, how do you guys get the word out? Like, do you guys have a relationship with the school districts, with DPS, CD? I think Detroit Public Schools Community District is the largest school district in the state. So is there a relationship there? What's the way that you guys get the word out?
Well, I've been grassroots, man. I've been boots to the ground, flyers. I did a commercial, the social media thing. Prior to the pandemic, I had schedules to go into schools and the high schools and talk to the young people about the program and get them interested in the program. But that just crashed and burned on me. So since then, it's just been, boots to the ground type thing. I've tried every kind of marketing you can think of besides, standing on the corner myself with a sign.
Totally.
One of the things that I saw kind of have some success is connecting with some of the coaches from the athletic departments in some of the high schools. They tend to know who's hungry, who's not getting ready to go off to school, who's not going out to college, they're graduating, and they work hard, right? Like I've seen that kind of be a good resource when you're looking to kind of find some good candidates for your courses.
That's a great idea, Dewan.
Thank you. I do have one of the questions is, I guess, what type of experience do they need to have, like when they walk in your door, right? I mean, I know that you're talking about, some of the questions that you get from them, but like if I'm walking in your door, what do I need to bring with me?
For me, you would need a GED at minimum, and we do check that. You need an ID, but for those who don't have those pieces of information, we'll provide resources for them to go and get those resources to get it. But we don't test as a criteria to enter our program. We do test eventually just to see where our students are. And so what's beautiful about this virtual environment, if I were to pick something, to say positive about this flipping pandemic, awful pandemic, we started in January with in person, 4 hours a day. We have 2 sessions, right? A morning and an afternoon. And just when we we kicked this thing off in January, and just when we got to a point where people got into the rhythm of being dropped off and picked up, or they found where they're going to park, and they're accustomed to showing up at our location at 9 o'clock every day, the pandemic hit. But a number of our students didn't have adequate Wi-Fi. So we had to, they didn't have devices. So we had to really act fast so that they were able to get access to the equipment they needed, so that when we went underground and went in quarantine, they were all ready to go. So as far as I'm concerned, the only thing I add, but then, I have instructors who bring the curriculum to our students at where they are. So, again, the only thing that I require is a desire to want to learn and grow, and a GED. We even go through a visioning exercise. So here's something I want to tell you, Derrick. We even go through a visioning exercise where, I make them figure out, like, draw me a picture of what your work environment is going to look like when you finish this program. And this is like day 3. And they're like, we don't know. And I'm like, no, I just need to know. I need you to close your eyes. Tell me what this thing looks like. Open your eyes and draw it. And they do it, right? And then I give them a $50,000. And I said, this is your internship. Then I give them a $50,000 check. And I'm like, and it's a fake check. It's written for me, right? And it's like, okay, now I'm paying you $50,000. What does this do to your picture? And then they start drawing, and it kind of grows. You can see the expansion. And then I say, okay, I'm back a year later to give you $100,000. Now, what does that do to your picture? Meaning, what does that do to your vision? What does that do to your life? And then at the end, the big check is a $300,000 check. And they go crazy because now they feeling me, right? Now they're like, okay. And I have them get different crayons and different colored pens. And I adopted that. Don't tell anybody, from the Goldman Sachs program I used to run. And I would do the same visioning exercise with adults. And it works very similar to with the young people. And it gets them in that frame of mind of, first of all, they're learning how to meditate, visualize, but now they can see it. And it's like, and that's the key, Derrick. If they see it, then they can get it. Then it's plausible. Then now they can dream about it. So that's just a little trick that I use in like the first week to try to level set. But some of our students come and they're like, well, I love to game. Okay. Some of our students actually coach gaming for like professional gaming teams, which I didn't even know existed.
Yeah.
They're building websites, they're coaching. I'm like, what? But it's not necessary.
Colleges have gaming teams as well. Like you get scholarships and everything. Yeah.
What?
Yeah. So, Derrick, same question your way. Like, what do I need to walk in with experience-wise?
Well, because we are a state of Michigan licensed proprietary trade school, you have to have a minimum of GED. So we do also check that, make sure you have that, and all that. Other than that, I'm looking for young men and women who, have that ability to think outside the box, because everything is not cut in stone. It has to be this way. When we're sitting in our program is 80% hands-on. You're in there touching, feeling, cutting wires, running wires, learning how to solder, all that type of stuff. So sometimes you just got to, think outside the box. As an engineer, they say, what do you mean think outside the box? So if I told you to take that square peg and put it in that round hole, can you do it? Well, as an engineer thinking outside the box, yeah, I'm going to tell you I can do it. And you're going to say, how you going to do that? Well, I'm going to go get a file and I'm going to round them edges off of that square block enough for
critical thinking skills.
You know what I'm saying? So that's thinking outside the box. So I kind of look for that as students come in. Do they have that ability? Is that ability that you can train them to have also? And then hand skills, because you got to use a lot of hand tools. I noticed in this last class I had a student that he used the tools, but he had some difficult times with it. I had to basically show him how to actually hold different things to get the best out of utilization out of those tools. But we don't want that to stop you, because it can be trained. So just the basic requirement, high school diploma, high school GED, that type of thing. And we're going to prepare you for a career. I'm going to prepare you. You're going to be ready.
One of the things that always troubles me, right, is that there's something going on psychologically that makes me feel like I should be intimidated about taking your course. But I feel like I'm capable of going to apply at a fast food restaurant, right? Mm-hmm. No matter where you go, there's going to be a level of training that takes place, right? So if you're going to go there and work for minimum wage, and they're going to have expectations and train you, why not come and set yourself up for a career? What can we do to change the way we explain or extend an invitation to make people feel like this is as accessible to them as McDonald's, Burger King, Taco Bell is, but it's just going to pay a lot more?
Well, I'm planning now to do a technology trade show to kind of bring my industry partners together to talk about their companies, what they expect, from employees, the opportunities that they have at their companies and things like that. And I'm also start opening up the doors to tours, more come in and check out the lab. Come in and look what we have to offer, so you won't be intimidated. I mean, it sounds intimidating, but I'm going to tell you something. Because of the pandemic, I had to switch up real fast and go to online learning, and it just didn't work for my guys. They finally came to me and said, Mr. Davis, can we come in the classroom? And I was like, you know what? It's only two of y'all guys. We can do it socially distance. Let's do it. When they got in that room and actually started engaging with the tools and the lab equipment and things like that, man, their eyes lit up it was amazing. It was like, oh, wow, I can do this. And then I encourage them the whole time, hey, don't worry about it. You're doing a good job. It's repetition. Just keep trying, going at it, repetition. And before you know it, you're gonna know what you need to do. And then I also encourage them that when you get out there into your career or start working as an entry-level tech with a company, they're going to train you on the equipment and things that they do in the field. They're going to match you with a tradesman, a lead technician when you go on the job. So you're going to learn tons more once you get out into the field. I had one of my technology partners come to the facility and sit down and talk to the students about their company and what they're looking for and what they did. And that blew their mind right there. That right there was alone worth $1 million, to have this director, vice president of operations sit there in the room and actually talk to them about their needs and what they want, And so when he left, they were asking me 1 million questions.
I want that. I want to be like him.
So it was awesome. So I'm gonna continue to do that, bring in the technology partners prior to them finishing, so that they can talk about the industry and so they can see technicians that are out there actually in the field doing the job.
Mhm. And we use the same strategy. I have a recruiter on the team who's around 30, and she knows she's very savvy with social media, so she's able to really connect and share the stories of some of the others. What's fortunate about Npower and about me launching it here is the fact that they've been doing this for 20 years around the country. So I have a lot of examples of people to point to say, yeah, this person was living in a shelter in Brooklyn, and now they're working here in Ann Arbor, for Google, which is actually the case. And so, but also I leverage the alumni, right? So now that we have about 75 students that we've trained since last January in our under our belts, well, now if they're now out there promoting. I mean, these young people were valets and waitresses at the Cheesecake Factory, and they were movers. There were a couple of guys who were college athletes that got injured and had to come home, but the moving companies here were like, yeah, y'all big, and they were movers in January. Well, today, the young lady who was the waitress at the Cheesecake Factory is with TCF Bank. Now, these are entry-level IT jobs, right? But their foot is in the door. TCF Bank, they're at Little Caesars, at Accenture. They look completely different because their confidence, confidence looks good on people. Yeah. But when I can bring them back and they're able to tell the other students who are, sometimes reluctant in the first week or two, but when I bring the CIO of Wayne State in, or I bring someone who looks like them to say, hey, I was the only one, at one point, but now I have you guys, and they can aspire to be like those. That's the importance of the mentors and our volunteers. And then the students they're hooked. They're on the hook then. So, with between our alum and the volunteers who come and speak to our young people, it's on then, because they can see themselves in these individuals. Did you know that the CISO, or the cybersecurity chief cybersecurity officer of DTE, is a sister? And so she comes in all the time. She loves to inspire young people. She's looking for people who are interested in the cybersecurity, but she looks just like the women, the young women in my class. They see her and they're like, oh, I can be like Tobias Ward. There you go. I can, so they got to see us.
Right.
And so
that's good.
That's the hook too.
I have a question. So when I was younger, they used to run these commercials. I think it was for the United Negro College Fund, and they would have a father come in, and he's putting change inside of the jar, and and he's telling his son that you're not going to be like me, you're going to go to college, right? And I think it used to end, the guy with a deep voice, he was like, donate to the United Negro College Fund because a mind is a terrible thing to waste. And it made it like, just seeing that commercial all the time, it made it seem like that you were wasting your mind or wasting your time if you did not go to college.
If you didn't go to college.
Yeah, if you didn't go to college. And so if there are people who think that going a route of a trade school or going a route of certification is shortchanging our students, are not pushing them to a higher level, and that if that certification, that training is not attached to a 4-year degree, that is not worthwhile doing. What would you say to someone with that type of criticism?
I'm that guy. When I graduated high school, I wasn't ready for college, but being my parents were educators, I went because they were like, "You're going to college," So I went to Tennessee State. I did 2 years at Tennessee State, and I found that it wasn't for me. I'm a hands-out guy. I'm a hands-on learner. So after those 2 years, I called home one day and said, "Hey, I'm joined the military." I left and went to the Navy, and I got my electronics background in the Navy. The Navy turned me into a man, basically, and then I learned electronics in the Navy. Once I got out of the military,
oh, my daddy did too. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm like, oh, okay, go ahead.
Once I got out of the military, I started working, as a camera guy and broadcasting because of my field was broadcast. I loved it and everything. And then I got tired of carrying the camera and I wanted to be an engineer. I wanted to learn how the cameras worked. I wanted to learn what the engineers in the station was doing. So I went back to school. I went back to school and raised a family, finally got my degree. I was on a 10-year plan, but I got it. But at the same time, I was working. I was working in the field because I had that basic electronic skills, that trade from the Navy. And, then once I got in the industry and I wanted to go high, now my mindset has changed. Now I'm ready for college because I'm working, I'm making money doing what I like to do, but I'm a proponent now for the trades. I mean, my son, when he got out of high school, I told him, look, I know you're not ready for college. You ain't wasting my money. You know what I'm saying? But he went and got a trade. He went into the trades and he's very successful now. And he went back to school too. Got his degree, his associate's electronics degree from ITT Tech. Now he's teaching and he works in the industry. So I know that pathway works.
Yeah.
It really works.
I remember meeting with, so I worked for the Michigan Economic Development Corporation for a while before the Goldman Sachs work I was doing. And I remember meeting with the CEO of DTE. And I remember he was like freaked out, called the state in, called the county in. So we're sitting there and he's like, look, in 5 years, half of my electricians are going to be retiring. They all told their kids to go to college. So now all their kids have English degrees and I can't use that. Now they're all getting ready to retire and I don't have a pipeline of people to come in and take their place. And he was like scared, like that could shut us down if I can't find the skilled trades. And I remember he looked at me and I said, well, he said they can write their own check. I said, what kind of check you talking? He said, you could put $100,000 on the table and say, this is how much it will cost and we're going to take you. And so, and as someone who took 6 years to get through undergrad, back in the 80s, my husband and I were just talking about this. It was a time where it was possible to basically work your way through school. But as someone who just put a kid through school, there's no way she could have worked her way through that. And if not for me, she could easily have $50,000 worth of debt coming out of undergrad. It's just, we need more options. We just need another alternative. Yeah. Everybody don't have $50,000 or $100,000 to invest in an education, but that doesn't mean they aren't smart or they don't want to be able. I mean, it's just a pathway. It's just another way to get to the end game. I mean, the end goal, which is being able to provide for yourself and your families. That's all that Npower offers. It's just another alternative.
Yeah, I'm concerned with the way we're having that conversation oftentimes, right? It's like, I think that like most of the people that I hear coming from our community that are involved in the conversation, it's like skilled trades and like if you're promoting one versus the other more, then you're defeating the youth. And I just don't like the way that we're having a conversation personally. I feel like, I've heard the stories of, kind of, the way you started the conversation saying it like there were only 2% when you started, right? And that sounds like that's still the case. But I would hear stories of people, brothers and sisters, when they got into the skilled trades, people not really wanting to even give them access, give them the opportunity to join the skilled trade, or like not even wanting to train them. But now that we're talking about opening up opportunities, and y'all have actually gone the extra mile and created opportunity, right? And committed yourself to it because you saw, like, that somebody could come and make a good living. So I just don't like the way that we're having a conversation, because at the end of the day, we're talking about another access, another opportunity, another pathway or option for success. So I don't think that it's either or I have my own opinions, right? Like, skilled trades was my pathway to success, right? Like when all my friends went off to school, and I was working a stock at ABC Warehouse. And what I realized was that, I better learn how to do something, because, my friends are going to come back with degrees and ready to be like real adults. And, I made a decision then that I would learn a trade. And, I was really.
Which one did you learn, Dewan? What did you pick up?
Carpentry. Yeah. So
Jesus.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry. Exactly. I had to throw that out there.
And knowing how to do something just opened up all kinds of doors. Definitely the confidence that you talked about earlier, like, was definitely there, right? It's like I walk into a situation saying, like, I'm not just looking for work, but the work is looking for me, right? Like, you need something done that I know how to do. So we need each other. So there's a different conversation we're having. We're negotiating, like, my worth and my value and what I'm going to be paid, as opposed to me taking whatever, you're saying you're offering for this position. Right. And but also, like, my friends that went off to school, they're in the same position. Like, they're doing well, they're providing for their families. So I don't knock one or the other. One of you said earlier that people didn't even know, a lot of people didn't even know that this pathway existed. And I think that was a struggle that my generation had. Like, we saw the rappers, the basketball, the athletes, the rappers, the drug dealers, and then we also saw the factory workers. And we thought that those were the only career opportunities you could take, right? So to have these other opportunities and you guys creating them is just a blessing. And I think that we should unite in the way that we're having a conversation, encourage one another, as opposed to saying, like, you should not be steering them this way, or you shouldn't be steering them.
I wish somebody would say that to me. I wish somebody would say that to me. It's like, then you write the check for them to take, the class then. You know what I'm saying? I wish somebody would. So I'm ready for that fight.
Like I was telling my young man, I was like, if you once you get into a trade and you want to learn more, or if you want to go back to college and take a degree that's going to benefit you. If you're in a trade like electronics as a tech, go get a business degree so you can learn how to run your own tech firm. You learn how to run your own technology trade, as out there installing security systems or installing digital signage or whatever. That way, that degree that you got is going to benefit you more than what you really, put your own business. Setting that legacy aside, starting that legacy for your children or something. So, that's what I prefer. I'm like, if you're going to go to college, go get a business degree so you can run your own business.
Right.
Exactly. And ultimately, at the end of the day, we all end up needing each other, right? Like, I needed the folks that went off to school and graduated, that I needed them two things. I needed them to not know how to do what I was trained to do, so they could hire me, but also needed them to be making enough money to pay me, right? So, but they also needed me to come and provide the service for them, right? So, like, at the end of the day, we all end up needing each other anyway. So,
I like to call that the win-win, Dewan. And it's like, what Derrick and I offer. I mean, I could easily come up in here and say, you got to give these Black kids a chance. I mean, our mission is taking, young people from underserved communities from poverty to prosperity. But at the end of the day, it's not even about that. It's about, you need talent. You strapped if you don't get it. You can't grow your business if you don't have people who can actually work on those contracts that you're going out there and securing. I have a talent pipeline. Oh, they're diverse too. Oh, look at that. So now you can check that, now that everybody has their the diversity and inclusion goals and stuff now, since now being Black is hot again. Okay, then we can all, like you're saying, we could benefit each other. It's a win-win. So now you have this, you can check your box on your diversity goals, and you'll have a high quality, both Derrick and I are offering high quality, trained, certified person who can come in, who's hungry, who's moldable, who will come in and work their butts off so that your business can grow and you can continue to grow it and get more opportunities because you got the talent. So it's not even about, hire the little Black kids from Detroit, although, everybody seems to think that finding a Black kid from Detroit is like to work is like finding a Siberian tiger. But I mean, I'm not even gonna come on that. But the win-win, it benefits everybody. It benefits the community, it benefits our businesses, and it benefits these young people, this generation of people who will be basically making decisions for us in a few years.
Yeah.
So, what I did was when I noticed that the African Americans only represented 2% in this industry, sometimes you gotta have a seat at the table to make change.
Okay.
So I was like, you know what? I'm getting me a seat at the table. So I sit on the workforce development committee for CEDIA, which is the residential end of the trade industry, custom electronic design industry installation association. And when I got on that board, man, they already knew that they had a problem in the industry. They knew it. When I went to the trade show in Denver, I could throw a boomerang in there and hit 5 African Americans. In the industry, they knew that there was a problem, but they just didn't know how to address it properly. So I started out as a trainer, and next thing you know, I was like, you know what? I started talking with the right people and wound up with a seat on the board. And right now, they're doing everything they can, hand over foot, to address this issue of bringing diversity into the industry because they see it big time. So, sometimes it takes us, getting a seat on that board or sitting at the table to not force change, but help change happen, help it move along a little quicker, things like that. So, I told them, I said, that when this pandemic ends and they start the next conference up, I'm coming there with busload of young African-American men and women. Just so they can walk through the trade show and see what the industry, it's huge. It's just every manufacturer that deals with electronics products. It's a candy store, and it's very exciting. But like I said, that's my way of saying, hey, if I can increase that 2% by 1%, I did my job.
Yeah.
And I like the way that also how you guys mentioned, what Derrick mentioned, how his own route he took. We went to school, sampled that, it didn't work out. He went to the military. That's another route. And then he got his certifications and trade licenses and everything. Another route. And then he came, after that boosted his confidence, he came back to school, and I think that oftentimes, we don't really take advantage of what a confident young man or woman looks like going into college. Like, coming out of high school, I remember coming out of high school, starting college, there was a lot of uncertainty. Some classes, I was the only Black person in the class, and I thought myself, like, man, I'm not good enough to, to be here with these guys. I'm just, I wonder what kind of, training and background they got because, and so a lot of not being confident can really cause you to have a dismal freshman experience in school, which can also cause you to kind of leave out. But to have some students who maybe got a certification under their belt already, and they had the opportunity to make money while they're in school, that's a tremendous confidence booster. And like I say, and it gives you choices. You can go to school, or you may not want to go to school, or you might want to do this, like Derrick say, for 10 years and then I go back and get my my degrees and things like that. So I think like how you guys are saying, like it's very important just to have lots of options to success. Like it shouldn't be no one way to success. Like you should have several options. Just like when we ask the kids, like, what do you want to be when you grow up? And say, I want to be an athlete. You know, what's the plan B? You know what I'm saying? And so it should be the same thing. Like, what's your plan B? What's your plan? You know, et cetera. I have just a couple more questions. First question is that what are you guys kind of already alluded to it, but what have been some of your major successes, your major challenges in the work that you're doing?
I started AV Technology Institute 5 years ago, and it was very difficult getting a trade school, a license to have a trade school in here in Michigan. I almost threw the towel in, but I knew what my purpose was and what I really wanted to do, and it wasn't about the money or anything like that. So when I finally was able to get that first class, you know, Quan, you helped me with the opportunity at Frederick Douglass that got my feet wet in the classroom environment, because that was actually my first time actually teaching this stuff in a high school. And I saw the excitement on those young men's face at that time. And that gave me the confidence to know, oh, I am an instructor. I can do this. You know, I can take this skill that I have and teach it. You know, so that gave me that confidence. And then going through the whole battle of getting the license and getting the school started. And then the pandemic hit and be like, oh, man, I'm out of money. What am I going to do now? You know, thank God I have a 9-to-5, but, you know. But the fact that I started with two students. You know, sometimes you think you build it and they're going to come. I had that attitude. Yeah, I'm going to build it. And now all of a sudden I'm going to have students everywhere. Well, it didn't happen that way, but I didn't let that discourage me. But the joy to see those two young men finish those 12 weeks, walk out of there smiling, knowing that they have an opportunity to get a job or start a career was the most exciting thing to me. That just warmed my heart, filled the joy, and made me say, it's good. It's all good. Thank you, Lord. I can make this happen. I can do this, and I can change. I can help change the lives of someone. So that was the biggest thing to me right now, man.
And I can attest to that because one of those young men was my nephew, and just the excitement and the pride. You know, he's normally a nonchalant person. You don't know anything about what's going on with him, but he made sure that the family knew that, I passed my certification. You know, I got an interview. You know, this was something that, that made the family news. And so that definitely was a proud moment for him and for us.
Nice.
Mm-hmm. Well, for Npower, some of our successes, I mentioned, a couple of the students who were in underemployed or unemployed, their average salary for the first class was like $5,700 a year, right? So to see these individuals a year later, there's been an increase of 526% in their salaries. So they're making some money now. 50% were Detroiters that we've supported. So now, Detroiters as well as Southfield residents, Pontiac, these young people are coming from everywhere. But what else? Oh, and they're being placed, like the internships, they were getting internships at Microsoft and, a couple of data centers, some big companies. My big challenge though, and that's great, but the big challenge has been, so we're a nonprofit, and there's some fundraising involved because I have to sustain this program. I mean, like I said, it's offered free of charge to the students, but someone has to pay for this. Part of my revenue, though, it comes from the internships. So the way that it works is, you get an opportunity, Bank of America, you get a chance to test out this intern, see if this is someone you would like to bring in full time. But for this 7-week paid internship, you just pay me, Npower, and I'll pay the student. And then there's a little bit that is allocated in the amount that they pay, and it's not much. And we pay our students okay. But it goes back into this training. You know, I'm investing $7,200 in training. They finished the program, but now I'm finding that the bulk of our students, because of this pandemic, the internships kind of went away because there was a lot of uncertainty, so we weren't expecting that. But then they hired the students. They're hiring our students right after they graduate into permanent jobs. Now, it's a good thing because at the end of the day, they're making good money. They got benefits. They never had that. And I'm telling you, they look completely different when you see them, and they're holding their heads up high and they're explaining what they're doing, and they're using the technical jargon to explain it, and it's really cool. But I don't get no revenue from that. You know what I'm saying? It's like I'm investing $7,200 in this individual just for, you know, a big company, and I won't say any names, to just pluck them and bring them in and give them a job. And it's like, give me a donation for training this pipeline. You know, so I'm just trying to, I guess that's my issue, because I'm trying to balance that, because again, I'm like super excited that, you know, this guy who was a valet driver in January is now working for in a data center out in Southfield, and that's awesome. But it's like when they skipping over the internships, you know. So that's my piece. That's my big challenge. I know I should come up with something a bit more student centric, but for them, okay, this is one. So that 85% of our students actually finished, but that 15 who didn't, when we went virtual, I learned the hard way that you can't just take an in-person curriculum and then put a camera up and teach it the same way. So that was a big challenge, because we got to keep these young people engaged.
Yeah,
I agree. Yeah,
and that's the challenge. That's the challenge all across the board.
I know, right? So it's like, but it's real. Woo. I found that the students who were really struggling coming in, when we shifted to a virtual delivery, those were the students who couldn't hang. So I think we're figuring that out, though, how to keep them engaged.
All right, and can you give us the website again that those who are interested in enrolling with Npower, where should they go?
They should go to www.npower.org.
Okay.
Or give me a call. Should I give my number out? Or?
If you want to give me a call.
Or how about an email? Camille, CAMILLE .Walker Banks @npower.org. And we'll get you all hooked up.
And Mr. Davis, how would they get in touch with you again?
Same thing. You can go to our website, which is www.audiovideotech.institute.com, and everything on the website spells out about the program. You can do everything on the website. You can inquire about the program. You can actually register for the program. Everything is right there on the website. And then the social media also, our Facebook page, AV Tech Institute, things like that also.
Okay. And I wanted to ask one last question before we let you guys go. Of course, in Demand, we exist to connect Black men with opportunities to serve the next generation as mentors, volunteers, and educators. What opportunities do you guys have for Black men to be involved as mentors and volunteers?
So I need Black men in particular, because most of my students are Black men. But we have professional development opportunities on Thursdays. And that's when you can come in and volunteer to help with the mock interviews, to share their experience, the journey that they went on. And our journeys go in all kinds of directions, but to be like really insightful and share and honest and just share their journey and the good and the bad. And so, so we're always looking for volunteers to inspire our students, especially men. And again, Camille.WalkerBanks@Npower.org to volunteer. And I would be happy to have, especially if there are people in your audience with any kind of IT background. Please, I need you to come and volunteer and inspire our students.
Yeah, I'm same thing. If you're a tradesman and you're out there working in the trade, whether you're an electrician, a plumber, carpenter, your masonry, you're running your own business, come in and talk to young men and women about in the trades. Just come in and talk to them what it's like interacting with clients. I go through that a little bit about professionalism on the job when you actually working for a company and when you're working for yourself, because I ran my own company for years, and that professionalism that you have. So if you're out there and you're already in the trades, and give me a call, stop in, just talk to the young men and women about the trades and that professionalism that it takes to run your business and to keep your business going.
Hey, and I'll say if you're watching this and you've been inspired listening to what's going on, and you want to you're a Black man and you want to serve the next generation as a mentor, as a volunteer, and even if you want to take that route of becoming an actual educator, you can go to IamInDemand.com. You can sign up. We'll connect you with those opportunities. So thank you guys for coming on to the In Demand podcast. Does anybody have any final thoughts?
Hey, this summer's gonna be a banger once this pandemic moves through.
Indeed.
I'm still trying to decide if I'm gonna hold class or just enjoy it.
Hey man, it's gonna be. Hey, get on that motorcycle. Yeah.
Final thoughts from me would be just take full advantage of the resources that's available. We underestimate in Detroit just how coordinated and how many resources we have at our disposal. And it's easy for us to, we don't know, but other communities look at us and and they're a little bit jealous, because I've seen it where they're like, wow, you guys collaborate like that. We're a very nurturing and collaborative city and community. But if you're not taking advantage of the resources, you're not in the game and you're not going to be successful. So this is just another one of those resources that if you don't take advantage of, it'll be gone and you'll regret it. So let's just use everything that we have in our community to make us better.
And I like you put that we're not underserved, we're underestimated.
There you go.
Yeah, not underserved. I'm not from the underserved community. I'm from the west side of Detroit. I'm from Central, from the Durfee area. That's my old stomping grounds, and that's actually still my neighborhood. That's my village, and you're right. It's not underestimated. It's not underserved at all. But yeah, underestimated is more like it.
Yeah.
I'm ready for that.
Dewan, you got anything for us, man? Closing.
Yeah, I would just say thank y'all, right? It's like your audience is me, right? And I think that, there's a lot of untapped talent out there.
Yes.
That if we don't get access to that talent, like, we're suffering, right? It's like we're gonna suffer more. Like, I always knew I had something to offer, even though I didn't go off to college, right? And I think there's so many people out there like me. I started off in the skilled trades, but I've been a union rep at the UAW. That had an amazing experience there. I was just VP of a very successful nonprofit organization, and transitioned out of there at the beginning of this month. And now I'm running an organization that supports other organizations, right? But it started with a start in the skilled trades. So you guys giving folks an opportunity and that confidence they'll get there and realize that they have something to offer, I think will definitely, give us more access to the talent that's out there that's been underestimated. Taking your word.
Yeah. All right. Well,
It's a pleasure.
yeah. So here we are at the end, and thank you guys again. As Dewan said, thank you for taking time to be on the podcast, and appreciate every last one of you guys. And see the audience next time.